Hi, Brandi. Can you hear me?
Hi, yes, I can. How are you?
Great. And yourself there?
Oh, I'm well. Very well. Thank you.
So many things I want to ask you because the chief branding officer, an on-air talent, the host of a great cooking show, you wear a lot of hats. Coming into AEW, did you know that you were going to be wearing so many hats outright?
Honestly, I started that cooking show way before AEW was even a concept. So I guess just a lot of people weren't aware of it before, but I started Shot of Brandi many years ago. Well, not many years ago, but more than 2 years ago. And it's been kind of an on and off thing. So I always kind of figured I'd continue doing that. I didn't realize that I would still be doing that, but it's really taken off and turned into something really cool and great. So, we'll take what we can get there and we'll keep rolling with it as long as we can.
Good. Well, bringing it back to you and everything you're accomplishing, AEW is doing fantastic from all perspectives. Did you know that it was going to be this successful this quickly?
I knew that we had a great team, that we were all pulling together here to create AEW. And, when you have a really great team and you've got kind of the right mix of folks all together, I think that you kind of expect things to go well. Things have definitely gone much, better and faster than I expected. And that's because I'm just a very, I guess I'm very realistic in that I set goals that are pretty attainable. I don't go, too far. So that makes things like, what's happened in the past year and a half really great because, I did not think that within that first year, TNT would grant us another hour of content. I did not think that they would re-up our deal that quickly. And our merch sales have been so amazing. Like every time I hear the numbers reported weekly, I'm just kind of floored and blown away. So, I don't think, I wouldn't say I set a low expectation. I think I set very reasonable expectations and we've surpassed that. So I think maybe now's the time for me to up those a little bit. See how we do.
When it comes to performing in ring, obviously there's extra layers of what you have to do and being in tip-top shape and all that. Are you that goal-oriented in terms of your in-ring performances as well?
I think I am. I think I'm really goal-oriented with all aspects of the in-ring performance. So you mentioned that, a lot of work and training and everything goes into that. For me, I think physique is a huge part of what I present when I enter the ring. And, I turned 37 last month and I'm still kind of one of the most in shape people on the roster, which is great, because at 30, I found out the other day that, we had a girl I wrestled, her name's Kinsey Page. She told me after we had our match that today was her graduation. And I said, what college did you graduate from? And she said, no, I graduated from high school. And that really just almost sent me into, a hermit crab, hole that I was never going to come out of ever again. But no, it's just, it's a testament to, if you think something like that is important, you got to stick with it. So I have my personal trainer. I have my diets, which are really achievable diets, actually. I'm not somebody who's a crash dieter or anything like that. I have to be comfortable, and I'd never want to be hungry. Like that. That's the number one thing I can't stand. So, and I'm just diligent, and I just keep plugging. And I'm like that in ring too. I started in ring. My debut in ring was terrible. It was my first time on television and first time in a wrestling match. And, you can only go up from there. And I just continue to go up every time. And it really delights me to see people saying, oh my gosh, I blinked my eyes and you got better. Because you were blinking your eyes and I was working my ass off. So there you go.
Yeah, you just brought up an interesting point when you were talking about all that. When you said the differences in age that are going on in AEW. I remember that when DDP had his match back in January, he was in the ring with MJF, who's in his 20s, with Andy, Blade, or is he Butcher? I don't know.
Butcher.
He was in the ring with Butcher, who I believe is in his late 30s, if not early 40s, et cetera, et cetera. The huge range in ages is spectacular. And AEW since day one has been really keyed in on inclusion and all that. How much of the inclusion is natural versus actually making a concerted effort to going, hey, what about this box and that box? We have to check those.
As far as our talent goes, we've never done that. We've never had to do it, which is really, really remarkable. And it speaks to what the landscape of wrestling looks like today.
Sure.
If you're not having to, search and find, a demographic, it's all just right there and available. And there are all these people that are just fantastic in ring. They bring great characters. They bring a lot of life to wrestling. And it's been no hard way to find this, and we've been actually pleased in the sense that, we take a look around sometimes backstage, and these just were the people that we wanted, regardless of how old they are or what race they are or gender or whatever. So it's really been nice. And again, like that just speaks to wrestling being so much more diverse these days than it's ever been.
Sure. And you were talking about your in-ring career before, or at least I was. And you've got a great tag team going with the Nightmare Sisters. It's going to be interesting to see where all that goes. But you said before that you were goal-oriented in all facets of your life. And famously, your husband had a list of all the people that he wanted to wrestle while he was independent or before he calls it quits. Do you have a list along those lines?
I actually don't. I don't have a list like that because I think our career trajectories are so much different. He's been wrestling for going on 12 years now, and here I am, still considered a newer wrestler. So I think for me to make a list like that, the outcome would be very different and perhaps disappointing. But I do have goals when it comes to, my in-ring work, and I've never worked as a tag team before. So this has been very interesting to me to see how this has turned out. And, obviously Allie and I, we're not the most similar, I guess. She's kind of, it may look like it's kind of dropped from my mind that she's a little bit, untrustworthy and problematic, but it hasn't. What I am focused on is winning. And she's a veteran in this field. So she's somebody that I can learn from in ring, even though we tend to, not always be on the same page with everything. We're working on that. We're going to get there. But, when I take a look back and I watch matches back with her and see different things that she did and, different ways that maybe we could have done something together or worked together, it's really cool. And I think that's growth for me as well, being able to work with somebody who is, had so much more ring time than I have and, really feels like she knows what she's doing. And still sometimes I'm able to surprise her. So that's pretty cool. And again, that to me shows that there's growth here.
Now, I was on both of the Chris Jericho cruises. On the first one, you were wrestling. On this second one, I don't remember if you were in ring. Were you? Correct me if I'm wrong here.
I was not on the Chris Jericho cruise, and I feel like I can talk about it a little bit more. So I had every intention on being on the Jericho cruise, and I actually had wanted to wrestle. The day before, we were supposed to fly to Miami. We fly to Miami, stay the night, and then head out on the cruise the next day. I went to the gym. I packed all of my things in my back seat from being in the gym, and then I drove about a mile from there to a different nail salon that I'd never been to before. But it looked really nice and didn't seem too busy. So I popped in to get my nails done. I came out, someone punched my window in, took everything out of my car that they could see, including my bag, which had my passport in it. So I did not skip the Jericho cruise. I was robbed.
Oh, I'm
my
sorry.
passport was part of what was robbed too. Thankfully, I had my purse, so I still had my IDs and credit cards and all that stuff. But yeah, I got ganked.
Oh, man. Well, I haven't heard anyone say ganked since the first Eazy-E album, Easy Does It. So credit.
Don't do that, because then here we are with the age thing happening again, and it's going to make me go into that little hermit hole again.
I'm older than you. We're all good on that end. So any idea if we're going to see you on the third Jericho cruise?
I would hope so. I mean, I've got every intention on being a part of it. I love what Chris has done with that, and he's just been really good to us all in having us on board and taking care of us and making sure that everybody feels good and safe. I think that, that's just going to be a matter of when it happens next. And I'm really hopeful that I make it this time.
So your build is being from Detroit, which in my opinion is the greatest music city in the world. Would you agree with that assessment?
Well, so I will say this. I've lived in a lot of major cities across the world. And, I was born and raised in the Detroit metro area. And until I moved to Miami, because I thought, oh man, when I moved to Miami, like it's like a party scene and there's going to be a lot of like music, dancing, everything. All of the music is behind Detroit. Like they get everything first and then it moves elsewhere. So like when I moved to Miami, songs that I was like hearing on the radio in Detroit weren't playing in Miami. And then about a month later, they started playing there. So I was like, what? So I really do think it's one of the music capitals for sure.
And do you ever get back there, or is that just all in the rearview mirror?
Oh, no, my whole family lives in Michigan. So I go there as often as I can. Before the current situation, I had just gone there multiple times because my brother had a baby. And so I went, to see the baby, and then found out my best friend who still lives there was pregnant. So then I went there to be with her, and then I was there for Thanksgiving, and then I was there for her baby being born. Thankfully, all of that happened before everything kind of got shut down, because I was able to be there for all those moments.
Going back to the whole AEW success thing, I love that your title is Chief Brand Officer. Did you come up with that?
No, that's a common title these days. It's a newer title. Different companies have been still different ways as to utilize, the chief brand officer. But my favorite thing about this is I've said at length so many times what a chief brand, at least an AEW chief brand officer, what I do, and people still have no clue. They still have no idea. They're giving me different jobs. It's funny, but I really kind of am a jack of many trades in that, the folks that we're on the phone with right now, the PR gang, they all work with me, and, we work to get these interviews scheduled and approved and all of that good stuff. And then, we're doing everything from press releases to writing up copy for a website, different pieces of the website, and just really working on everything in that realm, including every aspect of media, when we do kind of the media tours and we do the post-show media scrums, things like that. That's all my crew. But then on the flip side of that, I do have a little bit of a hand in marketing. Dana Massey is the chief marketing officer, but we work together on a lot of stuff. Just making sure that everything is kind of to code and approved, the right ways, and they're using, logos correctly and all of that good stuff. So there's just, there's a big crew that does a lot of stuff. I feel like I can't remember, but there's like one thing that some people just are really stuck on thinking that I do, that I have absolutely nothing to do with. And it just makes me smile every time I see somebody say, well, Brandi should do that. Brandi, what do you think? And I'm like, nothing. That's one thing that I'm not getting paid to do right now.
Yeah, it blows my mind, though, that you're able to do all of that, which for anybody would be a 60-hour-a-week job, plus wrestle, plus be in shape for all that. So it sounds like you have a good team behind you. I'm not going to ask who's on the team. I'm not going to ask how many people are on the team per se. But how long did it take for you to put this team together?
So here was the great thing about the formation of AEW. We had at our disposal the team of the Jaguars who've been doing this forever. So we had all of these fantastic people who were there and able to, run point on certain things and help where we were lacking as we were building. And that was a real lifesaver. And we've actually absorbed some of those people. They've come from the Jags to us now. So it's really worked out really nicely because they were doing this stuff and then they realized, oh, I really like doing that and I really like wrestling and I think I want to go this direction. So that was really cool. But I feel like as far as people who make my life a whole lot easier on the regular, people who don't get credit for it as often as they should. Leva Bates actually works directly under me. She is my CBO coordinator. She handles pretty much everything that I feel like I'm not going to get a chance to get to. And she really does take the ball and kind of just run with it. I feel like sometimes, I feel like there've been enough times that I've had to say, hey, Leva, just do it and mess it up and let me tell you did it wrong. Just do it. Don't worry about it. Like, I trust you, just do it. And so now she's like to the point where she'll just, take the ball. But there's still some times where she'll send me a message and say, I really just wasn't sure what to do here. I'm sorry. I'm like, okay, that's fine. But yeah, Leva's a huge lifesaver. And then someone you probably know well, Mandy O'Donnell, who's head of PR for us here. She really does an excellent job just keeping me informed, making sure that I'm not missing anything, which, as you mentioned, my life has a lot of work hours to it. So absolutely things would slip through the cracks if it weren't for those two people constantly being able to be there. And, every once in a while, I think I'm done for the day and I'm hang up the phone, and then I get a message that says, hey, are you getting on this call? And I'm like, oh man, yep, I'll be right there.
Are you fortunate in that you're able to do a lot of emails and calls while exercising, while doing cardio?
Oh, I did a whole call yesterday doing cardio. I had the phone hooked up to my speaker in my gym and was doing legit Tabata runs at 8.2 on the treadmill, and then was answering in between the 10-second stops that I was having. Definitely out of breath. So I'm sure people were like, what on earth is she trying to get into over there? But I think people realize we're all moving constantly. I mean, Tony Khan, I've never heard of him sleeping. I don't think he ever sleeps. He's constantly on a plane or in London or here or, who knows where. And he's, up at all hours watching Fulham games, and just, he's so busy. So I think we kind of all are just taking a page out of his book. Like, if Tony can get it done, I think we all have to be able to get it done.
Sounds like a fearless leader right there. So it doesn't sound like you have any free time, but when you do have free time, what do you like to do with yourself?
Oh man. So I do have free time, and I work in a different way than most. So when I was in high school, college, the term papers were done in one night. They had to be, because I can't wrap my head around it for more than one setting. So I would literally sit down and write 20, 25 pages in one night, check it, spell check it, reread all of that stuff, and just get it done. And usually would do quite well on paper. So I figured, that's just my way of doing things. And that's kind of how I function now. Like, if the email comes in and I open it, I have to answer it or I'll forget about it. So let's just get it done. I'd rather not leave things for later, because that just gives me, time to forget or pile work on top of each other. So I just get it done as I go. And then I do have, free time at the end of the night where I can say, okay, I'm going to sit down and watch this. I actually started watching a show called The Affair on Showtime, which is nuts. It's absolutely crazy. That show is nuts. And I keep watching it and I keep complaining about how nuts it is, but I'm just from season to season, I have no idea what happened. How many years went by, and what are we doing? But it's been kind of my constant that I was like, okay, I'm going to get through this one. But then I read a lot, and a lot of my summer reading is just, whatever. I'll look online at what's the recommended reads for 2020, and then I'll order a bunch of them on Amazon and just roll through them. Right now, I think I'm reading The Gifted School. I don't know who that's by, but it's definitely called The Gifted School. So if anybody's interested in looking up, it's good so far.
Well, you are definitely inspiring people to up their game, to say the very least, in terms of everything you're getting done. So 2 quick questions, and then you're done. And the first one is, This might take a little thinking right here. Before the quarantine, the pandemic, what was the last concert that you went to?
Weezer, actually. I went to Weezer at Daly's Place, which is crazy, but it was great. It was fantastic. That's an awesome venue for concerts because the acoustics, the sound's amazing in there.
Longtime Weezer fan, or just you could get all access and you went?
No, I'm a big Weezer fan. I think I have everything of theirs on vinyl. Wow. I don't think I'm missing anything. I may be missing maybe one, but I'll probably, now I'm going to look into it and get it.
I didn't think you were a Pinkerton fan, but I guess I know you are now.
Yeah, I have Pinkerton. It's awesome. Yeah, no, these are some of the first vinyl that I got.
Cool. So the closer, Brandi, any last words for the kids?
Yeah, everybody just continue to take care of each other in this time, and, be safe and be respectful of each other, and watch Dynamite Wednesday night, 8 p.m. It's going to be crazy. And this week Dynamite it is a good one, especially if you love women's wrestling. We've got Ivelisse and Diamante, which has never been on the show before, which is fantastic. And there may be some information coming that people might be interested in. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm hooked. You got me. I'm watching Dark. I'm watching it all. So thank you so much for your time, Brandi. Keep up the great work you're doing on all ends.
Thank you so much.